Kazakhstan, the epic journey of a sea that vanished into dust. There are places that are little known but contain many paradoxes and mysteries. Why is the world's most advanced spaceport hidden in an unvisited desert? Not in America, not in Russia, but in the vast steppe of Kazakhstan, where the sky has no boundaries and the ground needs no maps. Kazakhstan is not often seen in the dreams of travelers, but for history and the universe, this land is a beginning. Kazakhstan stretches over 1 million square miles, making it one of the largest countries on Earth, yet fewer than 19 million people live on its vast plains. Here, the road becomes a ribbon through the silence. The wind sweeps across the land, carrying the moisture, dust, and metallic scent of the vast steppe. It drifts as if searching for something forgotten. For centuries, nomads have traversed this space, guided only by the stars. Today, that very emptiness carries the weight of uranium, missiles, and empires that have slumbered beneath the sands of time. Beneath Kazakhstan's seemingly endless soil lies another world, silent but with the energy to light the entire planet. More than 40% of the world's uranium is mined here in mines deep in the steppe. The metallic sound of the earth echoes, harmonizing with the breathing of the workers who are exploiting the most powerful energy that nature has ever stored. From the nameless gray ore, the light of millions of houses is born. The world rarely remembers where that energy comes from, a vast land revealed through the patience of rocks and people. Deep in the steppes of Kazakhstan, Baikonur is considered the birthplace of mankind's space exploration. Built in 1955, it became the first space launch site on the planet, the cradle from which the space age began. From this remote desert plain, the Soviet Union sent hundreds of missions into orbit, from the world's first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, to the historic Vostok 1 flight that carried Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space. Even today, Russia's Soyuz spacecraft still lift off from Baikonur, carrying astronauts to the International Space Station, ISS, a living symbol of international cooperation. Interestingly, the name Baikonur itself was chosen as a strategic decoy meant to mislead Western intelligence. The real location of the launch complex lies about 200 miles south of the original Baikonur village. Yet, despite its secretive origins, this place has become one of the most legendary sites on Earth where humanity first reached for the stars. Long before giant rocket launchers towered in the sky, promising a future of space conquest, the vast steppes of Kazakhstan were the birthplace of another empire, the empire of the Saka, or Scythians, a proud nomadic people living in harmony with nature and fighting with an indomitable spirit. The life of the Saka people is closely linked to the hooves of horses. On horseback, the Saka were renowned for their accurate shooting skills, striking fear into the hearts of all their enemies, from neighboring tribes to powerful empires. The bond between humans and horses was so deep that in many Kyrgyz burial mounds, precious horses were buried with their owners, testament to the belief that the journey to the afterlife also required these loyal four-legged friends. Archaeological discoveries, most famously the Golden Man unearthed near Isak, reveal a civilization of astonishing artistry and sophistication. Every fragment of gold, every intricate pattern tells of a people who mastered both war and beauty. Across the vast plains of Central Asia, empires rose and fell, each leaving their mark of glory, conquest, and transformation. The vast, wild, and everlasting steppe where East and West meet, where the fates of empires are forged. From the mighty Persian armies to the sweeping hooves of Mongol horses, the land of Kazakhstan has become a great epic, witnessing millennia of ambition and power written in hoofprints and bloody sword marks. Yet, the steppe never truly belonged to any empire. Even as the banners of Persia, Greece, or later the Golden Horde fluttered across its plains, the nomadic soul of the region endured, untamed. Each empire brought new roads, new faiths, new languages, but when they faded, the spirit of the steppe remained. What survived was not the rule of kings, but the rhythm of freedom. The footprints of empires remain on the land, but the steppe endures, carrying with it the immortal spirit of the Saka, Turks, and Kazakhs who once ruled this sea of grass. Beyond the boundless steppe, the land finds its reflection in the quiet shimmer of the Caspian, where the wind of the plains meets the breath of the sea. Kazakhstan is the largest landlocked country on Earth, which means it touches no ocean, no traditional
Stretching
sea,
along its
just
western
miles
edge
and
lies
miles
the Caspian
of inland
Sea,
silence.
the largest
And yet,
enclosed body
it
of
has a
water in the
coast.
world, vast enough to resemble an ocean. Waves lap gently against barren shores. When evening comes, the Caspian surface softens under the dim light, blending seamlessly with the quiet air of the steppe. The Caspian stands as Kazakhstan's hidden sea, where land, water, and silence converge into a single timeless expanse. From the quiet edge of the Caspian, the journey turns inland toward the steppe's modern heart, where Kazakhstan builds a city that looks to the future. Astana, now officially known as Nur-Sultan, stands in the heart of Kazakhstan's northern plains, a modern capital built where the open steppe once stretched unbroken. It represents the country's vision for progress and innovation. With winter temperatures dropping below -30 degrees Celsius, Astana is the second coldest capital in the world. Over time, the city has carried 5 different names, each reflecting a new chapter in Kazakhstan's national story. At its center rises Bayterik Tower, a defining symbol of Astana. Its design is inspired by the Kazakh legend of the Samruk bird, a mythical creature that laid a golden egg in the branches of the Tree of Life, connecting earth and sky. The egg represented the sun and the promise of balance between the physical and spiritual worlds. Standing over 300 feet tall, Bayterik embodies that idea in glass and steel, a modern expression of renewal and national aspiration. From its observation deck, the panorama of Astana reveals a city shaped by precision, modern lines rising from the vast steppe. Nearby stands the Hazrat Sultan Mosque, one of Central Asia's largest. Completed in 2012, it accommodates up to 10,000 worshippers within a complex of white marble and broad courtyards. Its main dome rises more than 200 feet, surrounded by 4 minarets that frame measured symmetry. Inside, soft light filters through patterned walls and intricate mosaics, revealing a quiet, balanced space for contemplation. Yet even the grandeur of Hazrat Sultan has found a rival in the Astana Grand Mosque, the largest in Central Asia. Completed in 2022, this monumental structure stands as a symbol of Kazakhstan's modern faith and unity. Its central dome rises over 260 feet, flanked by 4 towering minarets that reach over 300 feet high. The mosque can accommodate up to 30,000 worshippers, its vast marble courtyards and gilded calligraphy blending tradition with innovation. Inside, the prayer hall glows with delicate arabesques, crystal chandeliers, and a hand-woven carpet that stretches across the floor like a sea of color, a masterpiece crafted by hundreds of artisans. The Akora Presidential Palace stands on the left bank of the Asham River, serving as the official workplace of Kazakhstan's president. Its blue and gold dome crowns a facade of white marble, reflecting both authority and clarity in design. Completed in 2004, the building represents administrative strength within the modern capital, a symbol of national governance built on order and precision. Not far away, the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, designed by British architect Norman Foster. The glass and steel pyramid was completed in 2006 as a venue for interfaith dialogue and cultural exchange. Each level of the structure narrows toward an apex where light enters the upper chamber used for the Congress of World Religions.
Since hosting Expo 2017, Astana has embraced a distinctly futuristic identity. The city's urban landscape is marked by experimental architecture and forward-thinking design, a city shaped by technology and ambition. At the center of the expo site stands Nore Alm Pavilion, a glass sphere nearly 300 feet tall, now home to the Museum of Future Energy. Its surrounding complex continues to operate as a hub for innovation, conferences, and design research focused on sustainability. LED lighting networks and intelligent building systems keep the district energy efficient year-round. Together, these structures reflect Kazakhstan's effort to present a modern, forward-facing identity to the world. Nestled at the foot of the Tian Shan Mountains, Almaty is Kazakhstan's largest city and former capital, a metropolitan center of nearly 2 million people. Though it relinquished its status as the capital in 1997, Almaty remains the nation's cultural and financial center, known for its creative energy and cosmopolitan rhythm. The city's name comes from the Kazakh word alma, meaning apple. This region is believed to be the birthplace of the wild apple, the genetic ancestor of every variety grown around the world today. To the southeast lies Medeo, the world's highest outdoor ice rink, built nearly 5,000 feet above sea level.
It serves as both a landmark of winter sports and a gathering place for international competitions and local recreation. Above it, the Shimbolok ski resort stretches into the mountains with modern cable cars, snow-covered trails, and views that open toward the endless peaks of the Tian Shan range. Its slopes are divided into routes for beginners, professionals, and alpine racers operating across a vertical drop of more than 3,000 feet. The resort maintains state-of-the-art snowmaking systems and a lift network connecting directly to Meadow, making access fast and seamless. Shimbolok represents Kazakhstan's growing outdoor culture, a space where recreation and nature coexist in balance. Down in the city, Almaty streets combine Soviet-era architecture with European-style cafes, contemporary art galleries, and an active nightlife. It's a place where Eastern traditions and Western influences coexist naturally, a city that reflects Kazakhstan's evolution from its past toward a confident modern identity. About 40 miles east of Almaty in the Isak Valley lies Lake Isak, surrounded by steep mountain slopes and dense spruce forests formed thousands of years ago by a massive landslide from the Zilyaski Alatau range. The lake once stretched nearly 5 miles in length and reached depths of more than 200 feet. Its natural dam, created from rock and sediment, held back glacial meltwater for centuries. In 1963, a sudden mudflow from the mountains broke through the barrier, flooding the valley and erasing much of the lake's original basin. The disaster also swept through the nearby town of Asich, leaving a lasting mark on the region's history. Following reconstruction efforts, engineers and geologists stabilized the valley, and water gradually refilled the basin, forming the smaller but vivid blue lake that exists today. Switzerland of the Steppe. From the southern valleys of the Tian Shan, the journey turns north and across open plains that stretch for hundreds of miles toward a land where the steppe meets water once again. There, in the heart of northern Kazakhstan, lies Budabai, a green oasis rising from the grasslands called the Switzerland of the Steppe. Here, granite hills rise from pine-covered slopes surrounding crystal-clear lakes such as Budabai and Shibachi, whose waters mirror the placid image of the northern plains. Among these formations stand two of the park's most remarkable landmarks, Okyets Pestrok and Jumtas. Okyets, meaning unreachable by an arrow, towers nearly 130 feet above the lake's surface. Its vertical cliffs of gray granite appear smooth from a distance, but reveal sharp fractures carved by centuries of wind and water erosion. Seen from the shoreline, it stands isolated in the water, a striking geological column. To the north, Zumtas, the mysterious rock, rises from Lake Budabai in a distinct oval shape. Wind and time have sculpted its upper ridges into contours resembling a woman's face when viewed from certain angles.
The formation changes with light and perspective, giving it a reputation as one of Kazakhstan's most photographed natural landmarks. These monoliths define the visual identity of Budabai, contrasting the softness of forest and, comparatively, a dry climate with the permanence of stone. The park's terrain combines open steppe, rocky cliffs, and dense woodland, forming a rare ecosystem in the middle of Central Asia's arid zone. Wildlife thrives in this natural haven. In particular, the mute swan has become a symbol of Budabai's protected waters. Once rare in Central Asia, it has returned to the region through decades of conservation efforts. Now, nesting on the calm waters of Lake Budabai and Lake Shibachi, its presence has become a symbol of the park's protection and balance, a living emblem of northern Kazakhstan's fragile ecosystems. From the tranquil lakes and pine forests of the north, Turkestan, one of the country's oldest cities and the spiritual center of the Turk world, rises before your eyes. Founded as early as the 4th century, Turkestan grew into a major political and religious capital during the era of the Kazakh Khanate. For centuries, it served as a crossroads for trade, scholarship, and pilgrimage across Central Asia. At the heart of the city stands the mausoleum of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, a monumental structure built under the rule of Emir Timur in the late 13th century.
Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the mausoleum of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi stands as one of Central Asia's most significant religious landmarks, a testament to faith, craftsmanship, and the enduring cultural legacy of the steppe. The complex represents one of the finest examples of Timurid architecture, distinguished by its monumental scale and advanced engineering for its time. The central turquoise and azure dome spans more than 50 feet in diameter and rises above a vast square chamber, one of the largest brick domes in Central Asia. Its facades are decorated with glazed mosaics, Kufic inscriptions, and terracotta patterns, forming precise geometric symmetry. The entrance, framed by pointed arches and flanked by massive towers, showcases the architectural ambition of the Timurid period, combining aesthetic refinement with structural mastery. Inside lies the symbolic sarcophagus of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, the revered Sufi scholar, poet, and philosopher whose teachings shaped Islamic mysticism in the region. Surrounding the mausoleum are restored bathhouses, prayer halls, and a museum dedicated to the Sufi tradition, forming a complete spiritual complex that continues to attract pilgrims from across Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan each year. Within its walls, centuries of devotion, architecture, and history converge in one space that defines Turkestan's sacred identity. Southwest of Turkestan stands the mausoleum of Arslan Bab, dedicated to the Sufi scholar and spiritual mentor of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi. According to legend, the Prophet Muhammad entrusted Arslan Bab with a sacred date seed, commanding him to pass it to a worthy disciple. Centuries later, that seed reached the young Yasawi, a symbol of knowledge and faith carried across generations. Because of this, pilgrims believe every spiritual journey to Turkestan should begin here at Arslan Bab, where devotion takes its first step. The structure follows the early Central Asian Islamic style, built entirely from hand-pressed red bricks that give the walls their warm, earthy tone. The main facade is framed by a pointed arch and an entrance portico leading into a rectangular prayer hall topped by two large domes, one above the main chamber and another over the adjoining tomb. Smaller corner towers mark the edges of the building, adding balance and symmetry to its compact outline. The interior features thick brick walls and arched niches decorated with simple plasterwork, creating a restrained but harmonious aesthetic. Ventilation openings and small windows allow light to filter softly through the space, illuminating the sarcophagus and emphasizing the sense of quiet devotion. This combination of modest design and enduring craftsmanship reflects the early architectural identity of southern Kazakhstan, where faith was expressed through proportion, geometry, and permanence rather than ornament.
Inside rests the tombs of Arslan Bab and his 3 disciples, enclosed within a quiet prayer hall lit by soft daylight. Nearby lies the Ali As-Su, a small well whose water is considered blessed, a place where visitors wash their hands and faces before prayer. For many Kazakhs, Arslan Bab represents knowledge, humility, and enduring faith, the foundations of the Sufi tradition that shaped Central Asian Islam. Each year, thousands of pilgrims stop here before continuing to Turkestan, completing a journey of 2 shrines, 2 centuries, and 1 shared belief. Among the rocky valleys of southern Kazakhstan, the earliest chapters of steppe civilization remain preserved. Here lies Tongali, a vast open-air gallery of more than 5,000 petroglyphs, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2004 for its archaeological and spiritual significance. The carvings date back to the Bronze Age, around 1500 to 1000 BCE, and continued through the Saka and Turk periods, representing nearly 3 millennia of continuous belief and artistic expression. Figures of deities, warriors, animals, and ritual scenes cover the darkened rock surfaces of the canyon, a visual record of daily life, worship, and cosmology in ancient Central Asia. The unfinished and mysterious Red Palace. In the foothills near Taraz, the remains of a Kurtis rise quietly from the steppe, a vast complex of red sandstone walls whose origins are still debated. Estimated to date from the 8th to 9th centuries, the site belongs to the period when the Arab and Turk empires spread across Central Asia, bringing new trade routes and the first Islamic influence to the region. It is recognized as part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site known as the Silk Roads Chang'an-Tian Corridor, listed in 2014 for its historical and architectural significance. The name Akhirtas, meaning the last red stone in Kazakh, refers to the distinctive color of the sandstone used in its construction. The ruins cover a square enclosure roughly 400 feet on each side, built from massive blocks of red stone, each weighing several tons. Within the walls, traces, foundations, corridors, and central courtyards suggest a monumental complex, perhaps a palace, fortress, or monastery. Yet no written records describe its builders or purpose. Archaeologists have long debated it. Some believe it was a royal palace left unfinished. Others propose it was a religious sanctuary, possibly Islamic or Nestorian Christian, while a third theory sees it as a sacred resting place along the ancient Silk Road. The precision of its layout, the alignment of stones, the geometry of the walls, and the scale of the foundations has drawn comparisons to the monumental masonry of Egypt and Babylon. Time has taken its toll on Akhirtas, but its red walls remain, a silent testament to the ambition and uncertainty that shaped Central Asia's first empires. The red rocks of Akhirtas fade into the distance, and the ground begins to reveal cliffs and chasms carved by time itself. This is the Cherin Gorge, a vast expanse of sandstone layers stacked into terraces and towers, a testament to the geological order of Central Asia. Located in the southeastern Almaty region, about 120 miles east of the city of Almaty, the canyon forms one of the country's most striking natural landmarks. Stretching for more than 50 miles along the Cherin River, the canyon reveals layers of a red, orange, and ochre sandstone shaped into ridges, towers, and deep ravines. In its central section, known as the Valley of Castles, the rock has eroded into striking vertical formations that resemble ancient fortresses rising from the earth. Each tower is formed from stratified sandstone, its layers revealing shades of crimson, gold, and ochre that shift with the light. The walls rise more than 100 feet in places, their faces etched with fine horizontal lines, traces of sediment compacted over millions of years. Narrow corridors wind between the cliffs, creating natural pathways that resemble streets of a forgotten city. From the canyon floor, the formations appear almost architectural, their symmetry and scale giving the landscape a sense of deliberate design. At the base of the gorge flows the Karen River, a narrow, restless current that has been cutting through these rocks for over 12 million years. Its turquoise water contrasts sharply with the red canyon walls, and along its banks, small groves of ash trees grow, a relic species from the Ice Age that has survived nowhere else in Central Asia. The scale may be smaller than the Grand Canyon of Arizona, but its texture and color give it a visual depth of its own, a landscape defined by precision, erosion, and time. When sunlight shifts through the afternoon, the cliffs turn from pale gold to deep crimson, their patterns catching every angle of light. The effect is unmistakably cinematic, a vast geological sculpture that captures both the beauty and the endurance of Kazakhstan's terrain. Far to the east of Cheren, the colors of Aktau are magical, with endless stretches of red, yellow, and white stretching across the once watery desert. These formations belong to the Aktau Mountains, a maze of layered hills formed from sediment that settled on the floor of the ancient Tethys Sea. Over the course of 60 million years, tectonic uplift and erosion revealed this fossilized seabed, exposing the colored strata that now define one of Kazakhstan's most surreal landscapes. Within the eroded valleys, scientists have uncovered fossils of turtles, crocodiles, and early rhinoceroses, confirming that this arid landscape was once a thriving ecosystem of water and vegetation. Unlike other mountain ranges, Aktau holds no peaks or forests, only an open expanse of mineral color and silence. Its ridges stretch for miles across the desert, catching sunlight in alternating hues that shift with every passing hour. Walking through Aktau is to trace layers of Earth's memory, a tangible record of ancient oceans turned to stone, climates, and transformations. The haunted sunken forest northeast of Almaty, high in the Tian Shan range, lies Kandi Lake, a place unlike anywhere else in Kazakhstan. Formed in the early 20th century after a massive landslide blocked a mountain stream, the lake hides an entire forest beneath its turquoise surface. Dozens of spruce trunks rise vertically through the water, motionless and almost architectural in form.
Beneath the surface, the glacial water remains near freezing year-round, fed by the steady melt of snow and ice from the surrounding peaks. Its low temperature and clarity have preserved the submerged forest in remarkable detail. Branches, trunks, and even fine textures still visible through the turquoise water. Seen from above, it resembles a transparent world frozen in time, where nature's process of decay has been replaced by preservation. In winter, the scene transforms entirely. On the northeastern border of Kazakhstan, there is a land that is currently untouched by modern life. Katan-Karagay, stretching across the meeting point of Russia, China, and Mongolia. This vast protected wilderness forms the country's largest national park and one of its most isolated regions. Covering more than 1.5 million acres, it forms part of the UNESCO Alai Transboundary Biosphere Reserve, protecting a vast ecosystem shaped by altitude and time. The landscape unfolds in layers. Snow-covered peaks of the Altai Mountains, ancient glaciers, alpine meadows, and endless taiga forests of birch, Siberian fir, and cedar. Each zone marks a shift in climate, from subarctic forests at the base to high-altitude tundra and permanent ice above. Wildflowers bloom in short summers, painting the mountain valleys with color before the long winter closes in again. The Altai Range is among the oldest on Earth, often called the cradle of Eurasian nomadic cultures. Archaeological traces, stone tombs, and petroglyphs still appear among the ridges, silent witnesses to early migrations across the steppe. Katan-Karagay is also home to rare and emblematic wildlife. High on the slopes are the argali, or Altai wild sheep, a powerful species found only in this region with spiral horns that can exceed 3 feet in length. Males can weigh over 300 pounds, their curved horns growing heavier with age, forming distinct ridges that record the passing of years like rings on a tree. They favor rocky terrain between 6,000 and 13,000 feet in elevation, moving easily across cliffs where few other animals can survive.
The argali's thick coat and strong lungs allow it to endure both freezing winters and thin mountain air. Once threatened by hunting and habitat loss, its population here has slowly recovered under national protection, turning the species into a symbol of resilience across the Kazakh Alai. Deep within the glacial cliffs of Katong Karagai lives the snow leopard, one of the rarest predators on Earth. It moved over the high rocks almost silently, its long tail balancing each leap on the ice and darkness. The thick, pale gray coat allows it to disappear completely against the granite slopes, a perfect adaptation for hunting in thin air and freezing wind. Sightings are rare. Only camera traps and the faint prints left in fresh snow reveal its presence. Hidden deep within the Altai, Burkhan Bulak is Kazakhstan's highest waterfall, cascading more than 400 feet in 3 distinct tiers. Fed by glacial streams, it descends from a narrow gorge surrounded by pine forest and sheer granite cliffs. Filling the valley with a continuous roar of falling water, mist rises and hangs in the cold air, catching the light in fleeting flashes of silver. Every detail, from the wet stone to the trembling pine needles, carries the sense of untouched wilderness that defines the Kazakh Altai. Vast, untamed, and far from any city, Katong Karagai stands as one of Central Asia's last great wildernesses, where life follows the same quiet rhythm it has for thousands of years. What if Mars was never out there in space, but hidden here on Earth? In western Kazakhstan lies a desert so vast and so silent that astronauts once trained here because it looked nothing like our planet. The plateau stretches between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, where the ground drops into the Caspian lowlands and the vanished basin of the Aral Sea. When sunlight strikes the limestone, the entire landscape turns blindingly bright, as if reflecting a second sky from above. It unfolds like a cracked mirror. Drone footage reveals veins of rock and shadow, the fossilized pulse of an ancient sea. Archaeologists have uncovered flint tools, the outlines of forgotten camps, and carvings etched into stone. Each mark whispers that people once lived here, then vanished, leaving only silence. The wind's voice shifts with the light, soft at dawn, fierce by noon, almost human by dusk. Standing here, you don't feel alone, you feel small, as if the earth were quietly reminding you how vast it really is. There's a mystery no one has fully explained. How can a river stay alive at the edge of a desert that seems endless? The Techies River flows quietly between Kazakhstan and China, winding through a valley once carved by ancient glaciers.
Its water is so clear that even the smallest stones gleam beneath the current. Horses and yaks graze along its banks, their reflections merging with the drifting clouds above. Here, the world moves to a rhythm untouched by time. Each summer, nomadic families return to these meadows. Inside, the air is sweet with the scent of fermented mare's milk. Outside, children chase the wind while elders play the dombra, its notes echoing across the valley like a memory that never fades. When night falls, the river turns silver beneath a sky unspoiled by city lights. And at dawn, Tees glows once more, a living thread stitched across the steppe, proving that even at the world's edge, life still finds a way to bloom. Few places hold wonders so effortlessly. Kazakhstan does. In a country where distance defines the horizon, people still greet you with warmth, with stories, and with tea poured as if time had all the patience in the world. They live between silence and wind, between modern cities and ancient plains, carrying the same calm dignity that has endured for centuries. Kazakhstan isn't just a place on the map, it's a rhythm of hooves on the steppe, of laughter in the cold, of hearts that never forget where they came from. And if your heart still longs to wander, another land unknown and beautiful is unfolding before your eyes right here on this screen.